Yet another bank is about to go belly up. It says that First Republic stock poised for rise for second day as regional bank searches for a rescue deal. It says that shares of First Republic were moving higher on Friday as the regional bank looks for a potential rescue deal to reshape its business after suffering massive deposit outflows in the first quarters. The stock was up more than 4% in pre-market trading, or about 28 cents after rising more than 8% on Thursday. The stock has fallen more than 90% this year as investors have lost confidence in the bank after two regional lenders failed in March. Of course, all of the Silicon Valley stuff that happened. It says that Reuters reported on Friday that U.S. officials, including the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, Treasury Department, and Federal Reserve, are coordinating meetings with the other banks to broker a rescue deal for First Republic. This is a massive one, too. It says CNBC reported on Wednesday that First Republic's advisors were preparing to pitch larger banks on a plan that would let regional lenders sell bonds and other assets at an above-market rate and then raise equity. It says the sales would result in the loss for the banks that buy the bonds, but could be cheaper long-term than letting the bank fail and get seized by regulators. Shares of the First Republic closed at $16 on Monday before the bank reported its first quarter results. So we are watching as this last 6 months has gone down. We are seeing all sorts of weird trading, all sorts of elites pulling their money out of the banks. What is actually happening here? We're going to talk about all of it today and everything that is going on around the world and current events. So stick around. We'll be right back right after this. You may want to buckle up. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we have a lot to go over in a short amount of time, so if you are new here, remember to go over to marfooglenews.com and find today's thumbnail. Once you do, you will find a full bibliography for all of our sources. Every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we're going to talk about here today is going to be right there. Of course, there's a whole lot extra down at the very bottom. There is overflow, all the stuff that could not fit into the show, or the more politically leaning stuff that gets people in arguments. That is all down at the bottom. So make sure to go check that out. Of course, let's bring in my co-host/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on and how are you doing?
Hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So we have First Republic. Dex, I didn't really see anything about First Republic before the last couple days. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's talking about it. What is going on with all these banks?
Yeah, so they were in the news a little bit. I think we talked about them once, maybe a few weeks ago. But you know, they've been teetering, and their stock has been falling and falling. And matter of fact, after hours. So after this, what you were reading, the update on that is the after hours trading. Man, this thing is tanked even more. They're down significantly. So, and actually, what the reason it's falling is the rumors are that the Fed is going to be taking it over. At least that's the rumor. So we'll have to see if that comes out probably next week, or if this whole notion of them trying to find the bigger banks to bail them out with some bonds, happens. But I think this is just the writing on the wall. At one point, we thought it was one bank and or a couple of banks, but we thought maybe those were isolated incidents, or at least they were trying to tell us that. But it certainly seems like this is happening to more and more of these financial institutions. And, we need to be prepared for what that may mean for ourselves. And, if this grows at a greater level, you might actually see, people actually running again, which we don't want to see happen, but because that's like the worst thing that could happen to these banks, given the fact that they're not set up to deal with everyone's cash. They actually don't even have our cash on hand.
Yeah, it's so crazy that if everybody wanted to go to the bank right now and grab their money out, they would say, we don't have it. Even if a few people do it, they're going to go, oh, well, we'll have to get it to you in a few days. I mean, that's how it's set up. They have your money out somewhere invested. It just seems like if we rewound to like where we set all of these things up in a modern civilization, or even back when this, banks started hundreds of years ago, you would think that they would go, hey, maybe we should actually keep the money. But of course, then they don't make anything, right? So they take your money and they invest it in other stuff. So they don't actually have it, or they'll take somebody else's money that they just deposited and then hand you that. It's absolutely crazy when you consider how fragile our system is, and it really depends on us essentially, crashing down on other economies and the rest of the world to keep our power as the dollar. It's insane. And I don't know if this is whatever is happening is on purpose, but we are seeing all of these very, very rich elites grabbing their money out, doing these massive trades, selling their stocks. Warren Buffett just got out of TSMC, $4.5 billion or something like that, some crazy amount. You're seeing these massive movements. The Holy Church brought all of the money back to the main church. It's like, why are these moves being made? Why is Jack Dorsey saying that hyperinflation is coming soon? What do they know that we don't? Now, we know that there's insider trading all the time, and it looks like that's what's happening. They know that something is about to go down. Now, this is just one scenario out of the many scenarios that could happen. So it's pretty crazy. Before we continue, I want to make a quick announcement, and I want to have a moment of silence. Mike Morales, if you did not know, passed, and I found out this morning at 6. In fact, I found out from one of my mods, Lisa R. Hall, and I made sure to share that out on Twitter so others would find out about that as well. But Mike Morales had a large YouTube channel. He had an amazing community. He had a lot of people that followed him. He covered all sorts of things. He had one of the most calming voices and some of the most peaceful videos. Great footage, photos, all sorts of awesome space content. He had all sorts of great content. And Mike Morales passed. He lost his battle. And his wife posted something, and then that post ended up getting shared. And I will make sure to share the correct creator who did that video that I shared on Twitter. I want to say it was Dave Boy, something like that, or Super Dave, or something like this. But I will make sure to get the correct YouTuber and give him credit today and tomorrow. But Mike Morales has passed, and I just wanted to quickly say that one, the mark that Mike left, it is all of us that have channels in this community. It's really amazing how many people we're able to reach. In fact, Mike Morales on a daily basis reached more people than daily, CNN or MSNBC. Some of the daytime shows, he had better ratings than them. He was reaching people all over the world, and people from all over are very, very hurt by this. I just want the wife and the family to know that Mike touched a lot of people. He ended up, making his mark on this world, and I will do my part to make sure that he's not forgotten, along with James Munder and others that we have lost in the last couple of years. We've actually lost quite a few people. And so I just want to say I am so sorry for your loss, Miss Morales, and just know that our entire community is behind you, and everyone is praying for you. And I just wanted to have a quick moment of silence for Mike Morales. And we'll make sure to link his channel on our website, marfooglenews.com. Amen. I just said a prayer for Mike Morales and his family, and if you did too, that is fine. If you wanted to send positive vibes to his family, or again, I don't know what's actually happening with that. I don't know if they need help in any way yet, but again, make sure to go, and we will make sure to attach any links that are appropriate down below when we get them. And Benny Orteza, Rockin' Robin, nice to see you. Tartan Grammy, and it's always rough losing somebody in this community because it's a very tight-knit community. It's not, everybody knows everybody. Everybody goes, there's only so many of us that talk about certain subjects, and it's a smaller corner of the internet of 2+ billion people, and a lot of people bounce from channel to channel, and everybody kind of knows everybody, and it's really, really sad, and especially to lose somebody to a battle like that. It's really rough to watch. About 4 days ago, he actually posted an update on his channel saying that he would update, and the next update was not the best. So God bless you, Mike Morales. God bless you, Mike Morales family, the wife, family, possible kids. I don't know if he had kids, and I'm so sorry if he did. I'm so sorry for them and for their loss. And then 2 U.S. Army helicopters crash in Alaska, killing 3 soldiers. It says that the U.S. Army says 3 soldiers perished and another was injured after 2 helicopters collided and crashed in Alaska while returning from a training flight. Now, if you remember, we covered this last night as it was breaking, so we do have some updates on this, but I want to point out there was a survivor. Imagine surviving a 2 helicopter crash. I mean, that must be absolutely insane. It says the Army says 2 soldiers perished at the scene on Thursday's crash and a third perished on the way to the hospital in Fairbanks. The Army statement says that a 4th soldier was being treated at a hospital for injuries. It says that 2 U.S. Army helicopters crashed Thursday in Alaska, returning from a training flight, the second accident involving military helicopters in the state this year. Each helicopter carried 2 people, said John Pennell, a spokesperson for the U.S. Army Alaska. Pennell said that he did not immediately have any other information he could share about the condition of those involved. First responders were on the scene at the crash site near Healy, Alaska, and it says the AH-64 Apache helicopters were from Fort Rainwhite, based near Fairbanks. This is crazy because these are Apaches. These aren't your run-of-the-mill helicopters. These are the one of the most dangerous helicopters in the world. They usually have some pretty crazy weapons on them. I don't know if they have 50 cal. I don't know if it's 30 cal or 40 cal, but they have missiles. They have all sorts of, these are Apaches. How did this happen? It still is not very clear on, it says that, that basically the Apache helicopter rolled after taking off from Talkeetna, and the aircraft was one of 4 traveling to Joint Base Elmendorf. So actually, no, it still doesn't say it. Honestly, they talked about the previous one. We don't have exactly how this happened. So I just wonder if they hit each other. Dex, do we have anything that is more current, or are they just not trying to say? They're trying to not tell us.
Did collide. That's all we have. They didn't tell us how and why.
I didn't see anything on the 3 pieces I saw on this. I did not see that they actually collided. What did they collide with? Did they collide with each other, or is that for sure?
In the beginning of this, it says the 2 helicopters collided and crashed. So they did collide into each other, but we don't have the details of how.
But it doesn't say that they collided with each other. I mean, you would also say they collided with I guess, is collided specific to another plane? I don't know. It collided means that they would hit each other, right? Were they playing chicken? Were they doing drills? Was it a training flight where they were trying to be hot shots or something? I don't know. But again, it's odd to lose the Apaches like that. Even if it's a training flight, you would think that there would be some sort of, backups there, unless one of the people training caused it for both of them. And then Air Force Squadron in Middle East arms up with bunker-busting bombs to counter Iran. So this is again, these are, I believe, A-10 Thunderbolt 2 aircraft. These are the Warthogs, and they're arming them with bunker busters. So something might be going down. It says the warthogs are capable of carrying approximately 16 bunker busters, otherwise known as GBU-39B bombs. And it says on Thursday, Iranian forces intercepted and seized a boat sailing under the flag of Marshall Islands as it was transporting crude oil from Kuwait to Houston, Texas. The seizure of the foreign vessel was only the latest escalation from the Middle Eastern Republic. Iran is now on the brink of developing nuclear weapons after decades of international pressure to end its program. The I country has also been behind repeated rocket attacks on U.S. forces in Syria. Additionally, the JB administration sanctioned Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps' intelligence organization Thursday, accusing it of wrongfully detaining Americans. The I country's Guard Corps was sanctioned at the same time that Russia's Federal Security Service was. Today and every day, our message to Russia and the world is holding hostage or wrongfully detaining Americans is unacceptable. Release them immediately, President JB said in a statement on Thursday afternoon. It says earlier this year, Iran renewed threats to target former President DT and top members of his former cabinet, including former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, for the 2020 forcefully perishing of its top military commander Qasem Soleimani. That is when they put out the video that was actually the actual Ayatollah put out a video showing a simulation of a land drone going into Mar-a-Lago, spotting T-Man, and then having a sky drone take him out. As I guess as crude as it was, that's pretty serious as far as saying that you're going to roll into Mar-a-Lago and take out the prez, right? And they have been threatening all sorts of other folks, journalists and others. With this, they are now directly working with Russia. They are obviously a big part of what is going on with UKR. And now they say that they have these underground bomb bases. They have these underground storage utility units where they can actually deploy not only planes, jets, and missiles from underground. So for them to be arming the A-10 Warthogs with bunker busters, I don't know if this is a show of strength or a threat, or if they're about to, get down and dirty. Dex, they're actually putting these bunker busters on the Warthogs. Warthogs usually are going in the front line, like going right up to stuff, right?
Typically, but I guess in this scenario, it sounds like they've got another plan for them. And it sounds like specifically, we know that a lot of their infrastructure for their nuclear development is underground. So putting these on those actually makes a lot of sense, or at least putting these in action, I guess, or in play in that region makes a lot of sense, especially with the way the tensions have recently ramped up, even between ourselves, the U.S. and Iran, not just what has been going on between them and is. So that's, we'll cover some of that a little later. But yeah, this is kind of probably a little bit of, showing power, but it may actually be more of what is yet to come, because it sounds like if there is some sort of you can call it an attack or some sort of action taken to stop their plans to build nuclear weapons, then this is the exact weapon we would use to do that.
So do you want to just go into the next piece here, which is the U.S. confiscates the Iran oil cargo on the tanker amid the Tehran tensions?
So apparently, what we're finding out is days before this recent tanker that was taken over by Iran, we actually took over one of theirs. We had seized it based on some sanctions. So we had seized the oil on that. So apparently this whole tit for tat is going back and forth now between us and Iran, specifically around oil and around these oil tankers. So this is being reported that this happened a few days ago or a few days before that. And it sounds like we may be seeing more as this continues to ramp up. Obviously, these are the types of actions, like sort of the softer actions that you see before things escalate to a greater level. These are not good signs. These are sort of the bad warning signs that the tensions are rising. So when we start seizing ships, they start seizing ships of ours and back and forth. The next step, above that, it starts to get a little bit more hairy, and I don't think we're going to want to see, and I definitely think they're not going to want to see what we would do to them, but we're not going to want to see any type of conflict break out in that area of the world, given the fact that we're so involved with what's going on in Europe, and now we've got, the potential threat in the Pacific. Being involved in 3 different locations is going to be a difficult task for our military.
So yeah, it's I didn't realize that this was what they did was kind of a response, but what we did was legal according to UN national law, according to Gutierrez, the UN secretary. So they're backing this up. I just think with the seizing of ships and things, we watch it very carefully. As I said yesterday, anything that goes on in the Gulf of Oman, the Strait of Hormuz, or anything in any of these trade routes, we're looking for a possible Fantastic Freddy to happen. Something like this could trigger a world war. This obviously was luckily not to that level, but if we ever see, say, a boat attack another boat and straight up, attack the military, then we're in trouble. Or if they attack the right kind of boat and destroy it or take lives of certain citizens, then we could be in a conflict really quick. And then before we talk about Iran, TV airs footage of commandos seizing U.S.-bound tanker. I do want to remind you guys, if you haven't already, make sure to go over and check out all of the Energy solar generators. They have the modular Flex 1500. They have the new Flex Tactical that was actually designed with help with the military and the Air Force Research Laboratory. The Flex 1500 is by far their flagship. It is actually modular. You can edit it. You can add in blocks like Legos, and those blocks will actually change the overall performance and what this generator does. So you can get the standard unit with a battery, or you can end up getting the supercharger. You can get the UPS module that turns it into an uninterrupted power supply. You can end up getting one that actually triples the charging time. It is amazing. As far as the Flex 1500 is by far the best unit that they have, and I believe it's one of the best on the market. They're all built like tanks. They are silent, which means nobody's going to hear them from blocks away. Of course, they get their power from the sun, so you don't have $5 a gallon gas. Obviously, you have unlimited power as long as the sun comes out. They work in overcast days. That's another thing that a lot of people don't realize. You can use these in places like Seattle or another place that rains a lot. Again, they now have the Flex Tactical, which is now water resistant and has a built-in heater. So if you want to look at these, they're really, really amazing. They're great to have if your power goes out, to have power that's on demand and stored, ready to go when you need it. That is what Energy is for. These are incredible, incredible products. And again, in this way, you get a special discount through our code, and you're helping independent news at the same time. If you just want to get one solid unit that is all built in and ready to go, the X2 would definitely be that. And of course, you will probably get this sooner. These, well, they have them in stock, will ship out very fast. And again, the Flex 1500 and the Flex Tactical, they use the lithium, which is now in high demand and in low supply. And you might have to wait on those, but it is definitely worth the wait. You don't want to get a crappy product that will break on you in an SHTF situation. That's why people are getting one of the best. It's worth the investment. They will last longer. They will work. They'll be reliable. And of course, they do a whole lot more. Go to marfooglenews.com/energy, INERGY, and make sure to use the code Marfoogle. It helps us out. And of course, it gets you a discount. Everybody wins in that aspect. And you will have something. You'll have power when no one else does. So that is its selling point on its own. All right, and then Iran TV airs footage of commandos seizing the tanker. So they ended up putting out footage. It said Master Iranian Navy commandos conducted a helicopter-borne raid to seize a U.S.-bound oil tanker in the Gulf of Oman. Footage aired by Iran State Television showed on Friday. The capture on Thursday of the Turkish-managed, Chinese-owned Advantage Suite represents the latest seizure by Iran amid tensions with the U.S. over advancing nuclear program. While Tehran says that the tanker was seized over it running into another Iranian vessel, it has provided no evidence yet to support the claim. And the Islamic Republic has taken other ships as bargaining chips and negotiations with the West. The footage showed the commandos descending on the deck with the advantage sweep by ropes from a hovering helicopter, and it says a photograph showed one commando with his fist in the air after apparently taking the vessel. So this is straight out of a movie. They pulled up helicopters. They, what is that, rappelled down? Or rappel is going down. Lapel, whatever. I think that's a thing you put on a brooch. But you guys get my drift. And then they took this thing over. It says that Iran's continued harassment of vessels and interference with navigational rights in regional waters are threats to maritime security and global economy. I don't know. Something smells fishy about this. It was a Turkish-ran and a Chinese-owned oil vessel. And we know how close all of these other countries are getting right now. So I don't know. It just something seems sus about this. It is becoming quite a big deal. And now there's an excuse for another tit for tat, a response. So, by the way, Dex, can we attach the video? I know that it's probably going to be linked inside this article, but is the video available?
Yeah, I think we have an image from it.
Let's see here. I got it.
The gist of it. But the interesting thing is, like, yesterday we only knew what the Navy was telling us, and it was very limited. So this is the point of view coming from their media, and obviously they're putting out a lot more information on it. So and so, you know, to the extent that we weren't sure how real this was, it's obviously pretty real.
I would say, like, if they just had one rocket launcher, right? If a helicopter did this, one rocket, boom, and they're done. They do have weapons on a lot of these oil tankers. Any of the tankers that go by some of the African countries, they have 50 cals, on their sides. They actually use lethal means if people come near, and it happens a lot where these little tiny boats will try to come up and steal the boat and take them hostage. So I'm surprised that they didn't attack back. And that's another thing. Like, why didn't you would think they would have some sort of security there? Did they fight back? Did anybody get hurt? And then Chinese Scorpion combat drone circles Taiwan. It says a long-range Chinese combat drone capable of carrying large weapons payload has circled Taiwan, the island's defense ministry said on Friday. Democratic Taiwan lives under constant threat of an attack by Beijing, which views the island as part of its territory. It says Taiwan's defense ministry said that it detected 38 Chinese aircraft, including a TB-001 drone nicknamed the Twin-Tailed Scorpion, around the island between 6 a.m. Thursday and 6 a.m. Friday. The drone's circling flight took path across the median line, an unofficial boundary dividing the Taiwan Strait, to the island's south before flying around its east coast and then returning to China. A map released by the ministry showed. Local media said that it was the first time Taiwan's defense ministry had reported a Chinese military aircraft circling the island from one end of the median line to the other. The ministry added that 19 of the aircraft had crossed the median line of the Taiwan Strait or entered Taiwan's southwest, southeast, or northeast air defense identification zone, the highest number of incursions since China ended 3 days of war games earlier this month. The zone is not the same as Taiwan's territorial airspace and includes a far greater area that overlaps with part of China's own ADIZ and even some of the mainland. So it sounds like it didn't fly directly over them, but what it did is it circled whatever this drone is, and you got to see the pictures of it because it doesn't look exactly like ours. Let me here, I'll show you what it looks like here. The TB-001. Check this out. Let's see. Whoops. There we go. TB-001. Yeah. The twin-tail scorpion. You'll see why here in a second. So it's a massive drone. And look at, this is when it's loaded up. This was circling around. I wonder if this was surveillance. My personal belief, and this doesn't mean it's going to happen, I believe that this is going to happen way sooner than later. I believe it's going to happen this year that they end up taking Taiwan, but I think it sort of relies also on what happens with Russia. And if you look at what Russia is doing, which we'll cover here in a minute, Russia's putting up dragon teeth. They're installing tank measures. They're saying that, UKR and essentially NATO gear is about to do a huge attack on Russia. There have been events going on inside of Russia. This is a huge escalation. Apparently, there was an attempt on Putin's life. Again, there's all sorts of rumors flying around. So I think that we are going to see this heat up as we see Russia and possible NATO heat up. They're sending hundreds of thousands of troops to Europe right now. So something is happening. And then, of course, they have done more war games in this last year than I remember in the last 5. We have been covering massive and the largest ever war games almost every week. I don't think that's an exaggeration. I mean, literally the largest ever war games in every country with every combination of country is happening right now. So, I mean, mind you, there's a major conflict going on. It's like history repeating itself. It looks a lot like what it looked like right before World War II. If you remember, the U.S. was supplying gear and money to Europe because they were fighting Germany. They were fighting all of that. And then what ended up bringing us really in, like just right into the fold, is a Pearl Harbor event. Now, that Pearl Harbor got us right into the war just like that. What myself and others expect is something similar that will get us involved right away, that will have every American saying, let's go to war. Because if you think about it, when they attack us on our home soil, that's when people really change their attitude about this kind of stuff. With Taiwan and this, they can only take Taiwan. If they were to take Taiwan and we actually did defend Taiwan, they would only do it if we were in a two-front conflict. If we were to go to war with China, it would be at the same time as going to war with Russia. And it looks like they're prepping up Iran. They're prepping up. Look at all the countries' comments about the U.S. right now. It's actually quite unnerving. Especially with Brazil talking about us, South Africa talking about us. Everybody is switching sides right now. France distancing themselves from us, basically in Xi's pocket. So very freaky. All right, and yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. And then Dex, do you want to talk about Kremlin plays down idea that Russia is preparing a nuclear weapons test?
Yeah, certainly. So if they're playing down the idea, that probably means the idea is strong. So we've kind of talked a little bit about this whole notion that they may be doing a test, and people were speculating that there's this nuclear test coming soon from them. Now, mind you, they left the treaty with the U.S. that was part of that was that they would communicate with each other when they were doing tests. If we were going to launch anything or they were going to launch anything, we would let each other know. That's been thrown out the window. So what we don't know is if they are going to do something, and when they will do it, they don't have to announce it anymore. It's not part of the treaty is now gone. So they could just do it on their own at any time. They're certainly playing it down, I guess, at least publicly. That would probably make sense if they want to keep it concealed or don't want it necessarily to be known when they're doing it, if they are going to do it. But at the same time, I suspect that if they say one thing, they're probably doing another. So in this case, if they're trying to downplay it, the likelihood that they're going to do some sort of nuclear test is probably likely, given the way they tend to operate.
Yeah, and thank you, by the way, Lola. I didn't even say it, and you guys remembered. It says, happy birthday, Marf. I also have a birthday on the 29th. Thank you, Lola. I appreciate that, and thank you for the support there, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, and thank you for remembering. Carol, love this show and all of the info. Thanks. Thank you, Carol. And then Ray the Way. Remember, folks, prepare for anything. And Feathers and Flowers says, how's it going? Hey, Feathers and Flowers. Sorry, the super stickers are like this big on my screen, so my eyes are going. Carol, thank you for the super sticker as well. Thank you guys for supporting Independent. I appreciate you, and I really do thank everybody that comes every day. Make sure to share this show out with a friend or a family member if you can. I'd really appreciate it. Since shorts kind of got put out, they've geared everything towards shorts. It's much harder for people to find us. They've messed around with the home screen, so even when people go to our channel, if they go to like videos tab, they won't see our videos because it's on the live tab. You're supposed to see it in the home tab, but some people are just like set on the video tab. So it looks like we're not actually putting out videos when we are. So please, I know that, if people don't try too hard to find stuff, they'll search it. And if they don't see it, they don't. So please try to put all notifications, that bell, and then also try to share us out with a friend or family member. More than any kind of support or super chat or going through affiliates, sharing us out is the biggest help, because then we can expand our community and bring more people in, and of course expand our reach. I mean, that's pretty much everyone's goal on this platform and any other, is to reach more people. I hope that we can get more people prepared, and I think that more people being prepared is going to be a good thing for all of us. The more people that really do start taking this seriously, the more people that have a basic plan, even if it's a basic plan, it will be better and more safe for everybody. If you really think about it, I think actually Nate from Canadian Prepper puts it a really good way. As far as like, if everyone around you is prepared, nobody's going to be knocking on your door desperate, right? It would be great if our country and many others like actually put an emphasis on having a basic prep. We all insure everything else in our lives, but we don't insure food. We don't insure anything else. And then we're going to talk about the dragon's teeth. Before we do, reminder, go over to EMP Shield right now. You can get $50 off per device on any of the EMP shields. In fact, they make one for everything. You can get one for your car. You can get one for your trucks, your motorcycles, your boats, your RVs, your vans, of course, your generators, your solar generators. In the case of the Flex 1500, they actually make an EMP shield directly for it. And then, of course, you can get one for your home as well. Make sure to go check these out. They can ground the signal of an electromagnetic pulse or a CME, all three phases of an EMP, in less than 500 trillionths of a second before it is able to fry whatever this is equipped on. So, again, this also protects you against a Carrington Level Plus event. So when we have one, it is a when, it's not an if. You'll be able to get out to where you need to go, bug out to where you need to bug out, or get home so you can bug in. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. The car version is super easy to put in. It takes 10 minutes or less to put into your car yourself. You don't need a mechanic. Very easy. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. Not only do you get a discount, but you're also helping our channel and getting protected by the same stuff that, of course, agencies like DHS, DOD, and the DEMSO team are using. EMP Shield is now officially helping protect the Texas grid. So again, check them out. They're Keystone military tested, and they now have the EMP Shield Micro. Thank you again in advance for going and supporting any of our affiliates. And what are the dragon's teeth defenses being erected by Russia in UKR? So dragon's teeth are the anti-tank measures. They're also just in general something that makes it harder for vehicles to get through. They're seeing massive barricades being put up. All of Finland is putting an 810-mile fence across. They are digging trenches. I absolutely know that. But as far as what we can back up, Finland is doing trenches. Romania is doing trenches. As far as Russia has done a 50-mile trench, and now they're actually putting up the anti-tank. So they are expecting some sort of big advance. Something big is about to go down over there. And it says that Russian forces have been erecting dragon's teeth defensive barricades in area of UKR that they control in anticipation for an imminent counteroffensive by Kiev, according to the latest satellite imagery of the war zone. The defensive obstacles, pyramid-shaped concrete shards, are also nicknamed devil's teeth for their resemblance to a fanged jawline. They can be seen running between anti-tank ditches and troop-manned trenches from western Russia through eastern UKR through Crimea. In aerial imagery recorded by Capella Space, it says that the layered zigzagging lines are intended to make life as difficult as possible for any oncoming UKR forces, as Russia seeks to protect the territory it's already seized. The digging work appears to have been carried out since Russian soldiers were driven out of Kherson in November, representing an attempt to secure its existing gains and bed down in a reversion to Soviet-era attrition tactics. The images reveal that Russian positions are currently primarily concentrated in the southeastern Zaporizhia region in the east and around the Crimean Peninsula, which is Vladimir Putin's government's annexed in 2014, a move condemned as illegal by the international community and which has provided his forces with a crucial strategic foothold from which to hammer UKR with long-range missiles throughout the conflict. Towns of potential strategic importance like Polohi, Tokmak, and Bilmak can also be seen surrounded by a network of defensive fortifications, which one expert has suggested might stretch as far as 75 miles. So it seems like something big, some sort of big exchange is about to go down. This also carries the risk of some sort of large escalation happening. So this is why, as long as you're following these things, you'll have a basic understanding of what could happen. Obviously, this could get out of hand, just like any other big clash that they have, especially when NATO is now even closer and more of NATO is exposed. With Finland now being a part of NATO, that's 810 extra miles, where if something goes over even an inch over those borders, something bad can happen. And it seems like it's almost planned to happen, or somebody is pushing for it. Dex, what is your opinion on the dragon's teeth getting put in?
Well, it's not just you don't just throw that up for drills. You don't just throw that up for decoration. It's there for a reason. They're expecting the tanks. They're expecting the movement. We've seen the massive trenches. We've seen even Poland and other locations put these anti-tank measures up across borders because they're expecting the potential of having tanks roll through either Belarus into their country or even through UKR into their country. If Russia's doing this, then it certainly shows a sign of defense positioning and the fact that they are expecting, I guess, maybe some legitimacy to this whole notion of this counter offensive that is supposed to be coming from UKR.
And I'm gonna pull up a couple articles here. We actually have an additional one that we're gonna add into tonight's show. And then this is something that we briefly talked about months ago. And so you could say that we kind of predicted this here as far as the dragon's teeth. Belarus, this is back from January 24th. So this is something we briefly mentioned back in January. This was 3.5 months ago, or almost exactly 3 months ago. And we mentioned that Belarus was producing these dragon teeth. So they were building these dragon teeth and shipping them out. So this is something that's been planned for a while. They knew something back then, or at least they were, obviously beefing up. This is an image of the dragon teeth put out. But Belarus is obviously a big part of this. I mean, I don't even know why it's still debated, but you guys see right through it. Honestly, who knows who's really all behind closed doors pushing all of this through. It's a very divided subject because everybody is confused on what's really happening. Most people, though, that I have talked to, and this is crazy, are saying that they're getting more truth from the other side than they are from ours. And that's a scary thought. That we just really can't trust anything that's coming out of any kind of media right now. It's a sad place we live right now. So, and then here is another satellite image of the dragon's teeth popping up here. And then the trenches and these lines popping up. This looks like World War III right here. This looks like World War II, to be honest. the fields and everything else. This looks like something out of a movie. And I wonder how many of these locations have been in war before. I mean, this looks like something straight out of like Behind Enemy Lines or something. Or the game Battlefield 1. It's a very crazy time we live in. And then Dex, do you want to talk about Kiev says counterattack nearly ready with Iron Fist?
Certainly. And if you want to pull up while I'm doing that, we had a caller that did not want to go on the air, Alex, but had some information. If you want to pull that up, we can talk about it and I can help fill in the blanks on that. As far as
I do have it up if you want to just go into that first.
Okay, yeah. So thank you, Alex, for calling in. It was nice talking to you. I appreciate your time. Basically, this was fairly breaking. At least one of the articles was only a half hour old. They're saying don't be alarmed that the FBI in Houston is conducting a quote unquote large scale nuclear incident training. For what that's worth, I think a lot of people worry when we see these types of training. And of course, when they say don't be alarmed, those are all sort of those keywords. There's not a lot more information here. It just says it's conducting a large scale multi-agency nuclear incident training exercise beginning May 1st through 5th. They did not release any specifics on the training or the exact location. They did not say that the training they did say it will not pose any risk to residents, obviously, and residents should be aware that the police and military vehicles and aircraft around the Houston area, along with groups of training participants, gathered in several locations. So for those of you down in Houston, if you see this, if you catch any video of anything cool, make sure to send it to us at marfooglenews.com/playmyvideo. And if you're in that area, be on the lookout and, head on a swivel with this kind of stuff. This is, why are they doing it? What are they preparing for? Is this just they do this all the time, or is this something that we need to be paying attention to because they're expecting something to be happening soon?
No, that is creepy. I am actually I'm going to tweet this out right now. If you do want to read this faster, if you're over on Twitter, I am tweeting this out right now. Yeah, that's freaky. Especially after the PSAs that went out in New York. These drills can often coincide with the real thing, and not these ones in specific, drills in general. There have been many drills that coincided a real event. If you take 9/1 2001, that event, there was actually a drill going on at the same exact time of what they were doing. They basically a plane hitting something. They were drilling for that exact thing. So these are freaky when they happen. This is, yeah. That is very, very creepy. Yeah.
And thanks again to Alex Fuglefam who called in with that. Really appreciate it. Nice talking to you too.
Sent in by Alex. Is it Alex?
I didn't ask. I'm assuming.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Alex, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Not everybody likes to talk on air.
Some do. I know. That's sad. That's sad we didn't get to talk to Alex and meet him. So, Alex, next time. You guys, just quit being shy. If you do call in, I don't know why everybody is so scared of talking on air. It's just talking with the Fugle fam. All right, and then let's see here. And then let's talk about the Iron Fist. The Kiev says the counterattack nearly ready.
Oh, they keep saying it. We've heard this since, I think they even talked about it in January that this counter is supposed to be coming at some point. I think the last rumors were it would be sometime in May, and I don't know if it doesn't happen then it'll be June. But apparently they're saying they're almost ready. They're on the brink, and they're coming in with an iron fist. So I don't know that this is anything other than just them continuing to talk about this large, scale offensive that they're going to be putting in place. Now mind you, I guess if you look at it from the bigger picture, a lot of equipment has shipped in. There's been a lot of training. We've trained a lot of their people in other countries. We've trained them here in the States, in Oklahoma. We've done a lot of prep to help them get into a position where they could do this. I don't know that 30 or 40 tanks is a lot. 30,000 tanks would be a lot, but 30 or 40 tanks is not a lot. But we've certainly seen a lot of equipment head over that way. So it could be, especially with some of the Patriots and then some of the other maybe offensive stuff that have gone in that can help reach further out, that may make a difference. So, again, we just gotta wait and see if that really happens.
Yeah, we'll follow it. We'll end up covering it. We'll probably do some lives depending on what happens here. I think it's going to be a bigger thing, but we'll see. It could be a nothing burger. They could end it. China could come in and be the savior and say, "Hey, our peace plan worked. Now everybody should worship us." Thank you. Hey, thank you for all the happy birthdays. Appreciate everybody. Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you again. Thank you, Carol. Over on D Live, Big Bartman, Beer Juice, J Girl, that's me. Thank you, Jeremy, Indiana. Thank you, Beer Juice. Thank you for gifting out badges there. J Girl, that's me, says rest in peace, Mike Morales. Yeah, very, very sad. If you did miss the beginning of the show, Mike Morales has passed. You can also go over to Mike Morales' channel. His channel will be linked on tonight's show. And go say hello. I'm sure his wife is actually most likely following the comments and things being said on the channel. She made a comment saying that she knows how much he's loved, and that how much the community, how much he loved the community, how much she knew that he affected many people. So it's a good thing. Sometimes somebody outside of YouTube doesn't really realize how close we all are with our audiences. And Denmark confirms sighting of Russian vessel near Nord Stream explosion. So very odd that this is coming out now. And yeah, let's see here. I don't know what is going on. There we go. There we go. So, Dex, do you remember when they actually had this where they said that they may have had Russian ships there? We don't know what is exact, but now they say on September 22nd, 2022, a Danish patrol boat deployed to the east of the island of Bornholm took 26 photos of Russian ship SS-750, according to the Danish military. It says Joachim von Braun, a Swedish intelligence analyst, states that the SS-750 is a specialized underwater operations vessel, while a former employee of the Danish military intelligence agent, Jacob Karsbo, claims it is capable of carrying out explosive pipeline sabotage to sabotage their own pipeline. None of this has ever made sense. Dex, go ahead. You're blinking. Are you still there, or did we lose you? Uh-oh. That's okay. I think, okay, perfect. Thank you, Dex. I got the message. All right, so we do have some callers. That's great. What do you guys think? So do you think it took them 3 months to Photoshop some photos? Or do you think that or were they responding to something? Most people in our community believe the alternate narrative to this is that somebody around the U.S. did this. Specifically, the U.S. Did this. That's, again, the majority that I see is people that believe what really seems to be, the Hirsch kind of narrative. But now they're saying that they provided photos. Well, if they had photos of this, why didn't they release it months and months ago? Everything is done on purpose. This is always on purpose. So it seems very strange that these are coming out now. I'm going to pop over to the chat. What do you guys think about the photos coming out now from Denmark? Do you think that they're fake? Do you think that they're doing this on purpose? Skyglass shows it all. Tommy, we totally blew that thing. Robert Kennedy says, happy birthday, Foogle. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. You guys should be on every day. I wish they had the wherewithal to accommodate. Ziggy well, I do have to spend some time with my family. Von Braun, Denmark, Ganda brother. Dale Val. I agree. It's propaganda. You could change history by releasing different stories after the fact. Killian, I 100% agree. And if you look at what is happening right now with our landmarks, our history books, it's kind of funny. I just watched Interstellar again. And if anybody, if people don't think that media put in all sorts of crazy things in movies, then you should really do your research on Interstellar. Some of you may already know about how crazy Interstellar was. What's crazy is I randomly watched it, and it's from 2014, and some actually really great YouTuber ended up doing an in-depth, a deep dive. I think his channel's name is Deep Dive, into Interstellar. That movie, in the bookcase, every book had a relevance to the movie. Every scene in the movie had some sort of significance, and every part of it, the actual person who was went to 4 years of college to get the scientific background to do the movie. I mean, they were just crazy. Christopher Nolan's brother, I believe it was. I think Nolan's the same person who did Batman's and this kind of stuff. But they had so many little signs and things in that movie. And it's so many things that you would never see. You just watch right through, you'll never notice. They spent years, down to when they're in the water on a planet that technically is by a black hole, that the soundtrack actually does a clicking sound, and it's timed that every 1.25 second it clicks, and in the movie, that's actually every second is 24 hours of day that time passes on Earth. So every second that they're there, their family is on Earth aging 24 hours, and every hour it's years. So, I mean, that movie, if you don't think that they don't put, symbols and scary stuff in movies, go look at the breakdown on that, because it's absolute. And they do it all over the place. As far as with Interstellar, there was all sorts of things. I mean, like, this is just they're rewriting history. They are literally putting in that movie, though, back to the point. They say that that all of the Apollo missions are fake in that movie, and they said, it was all Ganda to get Russia to basically spend a bunch of money and try to go on a wild goose chase. And they said that they've corrected all the history books. That's going to happen. Now, whether you believe that part of it or not, that's one thing. But for them to change the history books, it's already happening. They're changing histories. They're taking down actual landmarks. They're about to cancel Abraham Lincoln. They've canceled George Washington. They've canceled all of these different people because of what time they came from. They're erasing history. This is like German Handbook 101 kind of stuff. I mean, this is really disgusting stuff. And people think it's because, we're evolving or something. No, we're devolving, and they're forcefully doing it. That's my opinion. What's yours? We have April, first-time caller, talking about bricks in France. Let's get April on the phone. You get April on. I do want to remind you, if you haven't already, make sure to go over and check out marfooglenews.com/prep. You can get 25-year shelf life food at an affordable price. You can get anything from a 3-day kit, a 72-hour kit, all the way up to the 3-month kit, which now comes with an Alexa Pure Pro, a $275 value, absolutely for free. It is a large gravity-fed water filtration system. Again, it is an incredible system that gets rid of 99.9% of contaminants. That's going to come with 3 months of sealed food that's going to last over 2 decades that will be good until 2052. So, again, it's really, really good to have extra food on hand, but not only that, food that won't go up in price for over 2 decades. All right, let's get April on. April, you're live on Marfoogle News.
April, you're live on Marfoogle News.
Oh,
That's exciting.
we got an echo.
We got an echo.
An echo.
Do you have your TV on or any?
Do you have your TV on or
Yeah, TV's on.
Okay, make sure to turn your TV off because
make sure to turn your TV off because
it's going to echo for
Off
everybody.
it goes.
it's going to echo for everybody.
Off now.
All right, should be gone.
All right, should be gone.
No, it's not. Dex, do you know
All
what's
right.
going on?
No, it's not. Dex, do you know what's going on?
Yeah, I thought it was on my end, but it sounds like there's
it was on my end, but it
feedback
sounds like
loop
there's
from
a
her phone line.
feedback loop from her phone line.
Well, I'm sorry. The TV's off and I don't hear it.
We're just going to let you talk,
apologies.
okay?
We're just going to let you talk, okay?
Okay. I don't have any actual detailed information except that I wanted to say I have a friend in the Gambia in Africa who has told me that he thinks France has too much control and bad intentions for Africa. I also wanted to say that I have a close friend in Yemen who has said that he believes that oil from Yemen is being sold to the British, low-key, and everyone around him is starving and dying of disease because they're looting their resources there, basically. And I'd like to say that the conflict over there in the other area is sort of, related, but it's like a, hey, look over here. Well, this is happening, and they're clearing out southern Yemen because of all the port cities and this and that, so they can have more business, and they're letting people die. That's what I think. And I was just wondering if anybody else feels the same way about it, thinks the same thing about it,
So that Russia is a
So
distraction?
that Russia is a distraction?
I'm saying that, well, I'm actually saying more than that. I'm saying there's also supposed to be that pole shift, if you probably know, I'm sure you know, and that Africa has that rift, and it should split between 5 and 10 years from now. So I was wondering if there are some people who know all of this already and are preparing ahead of time as global conglomerates.
So I'm going to try to not talk as much, but I'm
I'm
going to
going
show
to try
some
to
pictures.
not talk as much, but I'm taking pictures.
These are some images of Africa splitting.
These are some images of Africa.
There's a big rift. It's supposed to split apart, and I'm just wondering if there will be a pole shift and if it will move everything, like sort of like a backwards Pangea.
Yeah, so I don't know
I don't know
what's going on with the loop, but
what's going on with the loop, but
I will. We have talked about
Okay,
the Adam and Eve.
We have talked about.
Here, I know what I'll do. So when I'm talking, I'll just mute your end and then I'll put it back on. So as far as the Africa split, this is really, really nuts. Africa is splitting, and they say in a matter of time that this may actually completely split off, as Africa will be turned into 2 continents. And as far as pole shift and things like this, this is a serious matter that we have talked about, and we've done shows on it, that they say that the world would essentially keep spinning, that the world would stop, do a 90-degree kind of turn, but everything else would keep going, and everything's going at 1,000 miles an hour, and that the water and everything else would keep going. So it would reshape Earth, and that it happens in, every so often, and we're actually overdue by thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So it's really quite freaky. It makes you wonder why Elon is trying to get the elites over to Mars. They say, we'll get 1 million people, whatever else. I bet you it's going to be the 1 million chosen people that go and recolonize, Mars, and they'll leave us here for the disaster. They have a very specific date that they're trying to get up there by. April, what do you think about Elon going to Mars?
What do you think about Elon Mars?
I think he's a very bitter person, and I think we should watch out for him. Don't trust him. He's very bitter. That's what I think. I don't have any opinion about him going to Mars. About that temperature problem, I wanted to say also that my friend in Yemen has said that it's hotter there than it ever has been in a long time. He thinks it's strange. And I also wanted to say that it snowed quite a bit recently in the very end of this month, which is highly unusual as well.
There's most definitely all sorts of weird weather. I just read something too. There's in Asia. Asia is one of the hottest on records periods of time in history. Right now, they're dealing with deadly heat. Well, April, thank you so much for calling in, and I'll end up watching the comments and see what other Foogle fam have to say about your comments, as you've asked everybody if they're noticing the same thing. As far as pole shift, it's a very scary subject because it's worse than any disaster. If it's true what happens, it's going to be worse than any other disaster that's ever happened in history.
Godspeed.
Thank you, April, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much. That was April, first-time caller. I don't believe she talked about the bricks, though. April, I'd love for you to call in again. I don't know what was going on with the sound. That's never actually happened to that extent unless there was a TV or a radio on, but it wasn't. That sounded like it was in the system. So, let's see here. Thank you, Dex, for doing that. And then why don't we, since we did get some later callers, do we have another, or no? Dex, that was April, right? Or who?
I got one more, Adam. Hang on.
Okay, but did I just call her April and she wasn't April?
No, that was April.
Okay. Is the next caller about the bricks in France?
No, that was her call.
Okay. All right, so we have one more caller on the way. What do you guys think about pole shift? Do you think it's something that all of this stuff is a big distraction from? Why is 2030 such a big timeline? Why are they trying to get us to eat bugs? Why are they changing so many things in a short amount of time? And then Russia's top spy agency is worried that domestic banks don't have enough foreign currency, report says. It says Russia's foreign exchange woes have attracted the attention of the country's top spy agency, according to U.S. intelligence documents that were leaked onto a Discord channel and covered by the Washington Post. The Federal Security Service, or FSB, is worried that domestic banks don't have enough foreign currency, the leaked intel assessment said. In addition, officials at the FSB, which is the main successor agency to the Soviet Union's KGB, also urged that any business deals between Russia and China be kept secret due to the risk that the U.S. could impose secondary sanctions on Chinese firms. That's a big deal. As far as they would be any other deals, nobody is going to know about. They will all be in secret. So there could be some huge things going on, but nobody would know about it because they don't want the Chinese firms to be sanctioned by the U.S. Or that's what they say supposedly. It says that after Vlad launched his conflict on UKR last year, Western sanctions froze Russia's foreign currency reserves. Since then, Russia has relied more on Chinese yuan, as Beijing hadn't sanctioned Russia. In fact, the yuan has surpassed the dollar as the most traded currency in Russia. Meanwhile, individual Russian banks have also been targeted. The West imposed sanctions on the MTS Bank in March, and 9.6 billion rubles of assets were frozen. According to the Washington Post, employees of Russia's Wagner Group, the mercenary contractor run by Yevgeny Prigozhin, saw the MTS sanctions as a sign that dollar transactions would be suspended in May. One finance employee worried that it prompts some Chinese businesses to cut their business dealings with Russia in order to not be impacted by the sanctions. It says the leaked documents also said that the U.S. intelligence officials believe Russia could be continuing paying for its conflict in UKR for at least another year. At least another year. Come on. Moscow is relying on increased corporate taxes, its sovereign wealth fund, increased imports, and businesses' adaptability to help migrate economic pressures, said the top secret assessment. Maybe, and also all of their allies and our adversaries are essentially buying 10 times the amount of stuff that they were buying before this conflict to make up for those sanctions. They're actually doing really well right now. I don't know if they're doing better than they were before the sanctions, but it's pretty obvious that the sanctions are who they're hurting, and to be honest, it's hurting us here in the U.S. and you in the U.K. Dex, do you want to get the next caller on? It looks like we have Lunar Wolf, a first-time caller, calling from East Palestine, Ohio. Lunar Wolf is coming on from Ohio, another first-time caller, and I'm glad that we got some newbies here. Well, we get Lunar Wolf on. Bible Talk 777 says, say 10 evil world elites. We have Carol. Thank you so much for your support. KT Cleans a lot, wishing you a very happy birthday. Well, thank you, but technically it is tomorrow, so thank you. Carol, thank you. Feathers and Flowers, thank you. Lola Cafe, thank you. And Ray the Way, thank you. All right, Lunar Wolf, you are live on Marfoogle News.
Hello, Adam. I wanted to say, give my condolences to the Morals family. And then I wanted to bring up a subject that I heard today on the news. The situation that happened in Palestine, Ohio. I'm in Lorraine. Well, I heard from the news that they said that people are being diagnosed with something called the agent and the fruit called orange. A lot of people are getting diagnosed with that. And my fiance, since this incident has happened, has been deathly ill. And my friend that I live with in my building has had a rash on her body since this whole situation happened. And I wanted to bring that up and wondered if you guys heard anything about that. But I heard about that today, and I was a little nervous, and I'm not that far from there. I'm like in Lorraine, Ohio, but I did my research and it states I'm not that far. I'm like maybe 45 minutes or something like that. And myself, I've been getting sick lately too, and I have a lot of medical issues. So I just wanted to know if you heard anything about that.
And you know what? And I follow news really carefully. I actually saw some of this, but I pulled up the Washington Post part, but no, I missed this. We briefly talked about something else.
I just found this out today, and it's making me wonder. Like I said, my fiance, he's been sick. Before this happened, he was not sick, perfectly healthy, energetic, had his own business. Now he's like down and out and unable to do much of anything. And he's afraid he's dying. He's been to all the doctors, and they're not giving him the correct answers for whatever reason. And it just worries me. And I just thought maybe I should bring that up, because some of the problems he's having and the young lady that lives in my building with me are having, I'm starting to have, and it's not good. And I wanted to bring that up and see if you guys wanted to do more research on it. Because it is a little bit scary.
Well, yeah, and everybody that is anywhere around that town with the vinyl chloride that went up in the sky. I mean, think about all the stuff in just our regular food. I mean, we know over the last 50 years there's been a lot of changes in the things we eat. I mean, there's been a drop in men's sperm count by 50%. It's like we put two and two together. Like it's the food that we're eating. It's in the stuff that's being put out there. And you add on to this in a town like Ohio, in the East Palestine, Ohio, you already have people that are suffering from all sorts of different economic issues. And then this falls on top of them. They can't move away. And there's chemicals all over the place. Of course, this is going to be harmful. You could say I heard people saying move away. Not everybody can move away.
Exactly. And they've been, and from what I've understood, they still haven't cleaned that mess up. And it ain't just our state, Ohio, that's being attacked by this. All the surrounding states, Kentucky, and I don't remember the other states they mentioned, but anything around Ohio and in that area, that's where a lot of people are getting sick. Their pets are dying. My dog, as a matter of fact, has been having some health issues as well. And he's only 3 years old, and he's been having some issues about, with things. And I've had to take him to the vet plenty of times, and it's bad. It's scary. And like you said, a lot of people can't afford to move, and that's what's even worse. And it's just like, I just thought it's just a shocker. And then everything else going on top of that, it makes you wonder, and it's scary. And like I agreed with you the other night when you said you think there might be that, situation, the big W/W/W, the number trio. And I do believe that, we're close to that as well. There's just too much to not say that we're not. And it's because of your show and all the people that I've got to know that have had me really wake up and really start realizing that things are not the same anymore. And the world is changing fast, and it's scary. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up and then, give my condolences to the Morrow family and let you know I've been with you since 2019 before the, thing. And I just want to say that I thank you guys for everything. You guys taught me well. I'm on a basic, simple little income. I do the best that I can to try to prepare for what's coming, but it is difficult, especially with, the things going on with all around the world.
Have you watched Alaska Prepper? Have you watched his Payday Preps? He does a affordable
yes,
prepping segment.
Yes, I have him. I have a lot of people. I can't remember all their names. I have quite a few of the people on your there. I've got Alaskan Prepper and a few others. I can't remember all their names. And I mean, like I said, and I was with you guys when Discord was going on, and then all of a sudden one day, boom, it's gone. And I'm like, what happened here? Because I was trying to get connected with a group here in Ohio in case I needed help, because I am a disabled I'm not young. I just turned, 50, and I'm not scared to say it. And I'm not young. I have a lot of health issues on top of everything else. And I've got 2 surgeries coming up, which I'm a little terrified about, but it's just, but yeah, I watch him all the time. And I also watch, Rip Curl and a bunch of others, trying to learn tips and tricks on things. I'm saving up money to get a particular, special type of bicycle because of the problems I have with my knee. I have to have a complete knee replacement surgery, and I no longer can pedal a normal bicycle. So I'm getting a bike that doesn't have pedals. It's more of a scooter type.
Well, Lunar Wolf,
in case I have to disappear.
Lunar Wolf, do you have health insurance or even state insurance?
Yes, I do. I have the community health plan of Ohio.
Lunar Wolf, you since you live around the Palestine thing, you really should, and don't be afraid. Like, a lot of people will go into the doctor and they won't the doctor will say, "Oh, you're fine," or this or that. You can demand that they do certain tests. You can be hesitant, and if they don't, get a different doctor. A lot of people will just, I can't tell you how many people I know that went in and they said, "Oh, you're fine." They went and got a second opinion and they found something out, or they found something was either wrong with them, or they prevented something really bad because they didn't just trust the first doctor. Sometimes I think doctors are just lazy, or they don't have the experience and they just don't see something that another one could. Everything has the same symptoms, so they could say, "Oh, you're just, you've got indigestion," when really it could be cancer, but they didn't see the one symptom that the other doctor has experience with. So, Lunar Wolf, thank you for calling in today. I just hope you get seen and everything.
You're
and
welcome.
Your dog is okay.
I will say about the cancer, Yeah, and I will say something about the cancer thing. I've had cancer twice. I'm a 2-time survivor. I do have a really good doctor because the building I live in, and this will be the last thing I got to say, the building I live in, I went and demanded to get a particular test done because the building I live in is almost over 100 years old, and they tried to say there was no lead paint. Well, I had demanded to have a test done and found out that I got quite a bit of lead in my system. And before I moved in here, I never had that. And I had my dog tested and he didn't have it. And so we moved in here and it's bad, but I will definitely call in again for sure. And I'm going to be seeing my doctor soon. And there are some tests that I'm going to have done that I need to have done because, again, I'm losing my voice, and it's not from screaming and hollering. It's been going on and off since this whole East Palestine thing happened. And it's just, I mean, my lungs are bad. I'm 50 years old, mind you, and I have like lungs of an 80 or 90-year-old person. That's why I quit smoking and all that stuff, but I'm still having medical issues, and they're just getting worse. So I'm going to do that for sure, and I do appreciate it. And you guys have really helped me and taught me a lot, and I'm going to continue, watching you, learning from you guys, and I do love your show. You guys are doing the right thing. I'm very proud of you guys, and I support you guys 100%, even though I can't do it money-wise. I do support you, trying to share out your shows and things like that. And I want to say thank you for allowing me to, speak, and I will not make this my last call. I was just a little bit nervous because I've never done this before, but I thought, I need to say something about this because those that do live in Ohio need to be checked. I'm talking about everybody that lives in Ohio, I would say.
Lunar Wolf, thank you so much for calling in. And Lunar, I'm praying for you to get better, and I appreciate you. And again, thank you so much for getting in tonight.
I appreciate you. All right, and cute kittens, by the way.
Oh, thank you. You can have one.
All right, God bless.
All right, bye-bye.
I wish if you want to make...
What was that? Nope. You there? Okay. That was Lunar Wolf, and and if anybody else wants to throw prayers her way, and pray for everybody that's in East Palestine and all of the surrounding areas. I guarantee you there's going to be fallout from that. Look at it. I mean, it's like a nuke. I mean, it literally looks like a nuke. Her and Lunar Wolf, you and your dog and you said your husband, right? Everybody's having issues. Is anybody else from Ohio that's having health issues right now? What are they going to do? I mean, I would say take the initiative. If there is a huge lawsuit going up against, I know that there's been people that I've known that were a part of something. They were affected by something. They ate something. They took a medication. They saw that there was a giant lawsuit and just didn't want to deal with it and didn't want to, I had two friends. One of them was affected by something. The two of them were both affected by something. One person went through the 2.5-year process. They got like $2.3 million from a settlement because they ate a certain thing and they took a certain medicine that basically it overacted or whatever. The other person didn't do the same thing. Both of them got a certain type of cancer, and both of them survived that cancer. One of them got a settlement because of it. One of them didn't want to take the time, and they're definitely kicking themselves in the butts. So if you do see some sort of settlement you can hop on and you really are, injured from this thing, I hope they take that. I hope that company files for bankruptcy. I hope it's unsavable. Like, it's absolutely horrid. Not because accidents happen, but the way that they acted afterwards was horrendous. They just let them, they've left them to hang. And then all of those chemicals on everybody. It's horrible. Just a reminder, this was a Foogle fam story. I just want to drive it home. Houston, put your heads on a swivel. This Don't Be Alarmed FBI Houston to conduct large-scale nuclear incident training in southeast Houston, Harris County next week. Be aware everywhere around Houston and even in Texas. I wouldn't be surprised if something did happen there. Not nuclear, but something around this event. And hopefully we never see something like this. A lot of things are lining up all at the same time. So, Dex, thank you for getting those callers in. And then let's go over the web only. We've got a lot of crazy stuff here.
We sure do. Head over to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, or down below in the description, if you're on YouTube and Rumble, you can click on the show notes link. It'll take you right here. This webpage has all the articles we just covered, has any of the updating and breaking articles that we've covered. And then you're going to find this orange bar that says overflow. That's the rest of the story. And then down below, you'll find the caller information. So if you can't remember what they were talking about, that's all there too. So look, lots going on in the space. So scientists have some sort of breakthrough in anti-aging. They don't necessarily say that it's going to happen for us just yet, but the early signs are they're finding ways to extend the cell life. That's kind of crazy. So we talk about all these problems that they have with the amount of people around, and then making everybody live longer. What kind of problems is that going to create? And would you want to live longer? If you could live for 200, 500 years or more, would you? Great question. I don't know. I haven't even thought about that. I'm just trying to get through the current life we got to live today. Look, lots of other things are going on. We do have some updates on the Texeria, the guy who was the leaker from the Pentagon. What's happening there? We've got the updates around, some of the political stuff. It's always going to be there. I wish we could get a break from the politics, but it's there. I know you guys want to know what's happening. Hey, the whole notion of getting rid of and banning natural gas, it's actually happening in some places. So New York is set to pass the statewide law banning gas in new construction. Kind of crazy. Look, other stuff going on in that spectrum as well, like California banning the sale of new diesel trucks by 2036. Some updates on AI. We do have continuous updates on what's going on with Erdogan, the Turkish president. And there's some have said that he's sick. He said he's not. They said he got sick on TV. You can be the judge. It's all there. We definitely have some of the updates going on with the Supreme Court justices. That's there, as well as what's happening in UKR. I know we've talked a lot about UKR and Vlad and Russia and what's going on there. We've also got the continuation of it. So if you need more coverage, if you want the rest of the story on what's going on there, that's all on the website as well. So make sure you head over to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, or hit that show notes link. It's down below in the description. If you're looking for any of our links, they're easy to get to. They're down below in the description. It'll take you right here. Get the rest of the story, find out everything else you've been missing, or find additional coverage of the topics we've already talked about.
Yeah, there's so much down there, and of course, there's always the videos, everything else. Did we get? Where is the Mike Morales stuff? Is Mike Morales' link here somewhere, or did I miss that?
I'm gonna put it on here after. I've got to find the right links.
Okay. Yeah. I'll send you the correct one because there is somebody who has the same name, so I'll make sure you get the right one. Thank you, everybody. And then if you do want that nuclear story, you can also go over to the Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at Marfoogle. Follow at Dex James. What's your handle? Sorry, I don't want to say the wrong handle.
Real Dex James.
At Real Dex James. You can just look up Dex James, but I always forget. People's handles are always different from their name. Mine is easy. It's at Marfoogle. Super easy. If you know how to spell Marfoogle. But most people, it's like their name is Dan, and it will be like, I am a robot 76542, and it's like, I can't. And then when you look up by handle, it has to be exact. It should be the main name is some random thing, and the handle is easy, not the other way around. Thank you, everybody. Thank your mods. Make sure to go support them by going over to marfooglenews.com/friends. The lovely Lisa Hall was here tonight again. She was the one who let me know about she was the first one I saw talk. She was 6 minutes after it was announced. She told me, and I just couldn't believe it, that Mike Morales had passed. Just a couple days ago, we were talking. It was yesterday's show. We were we were going to pray for him because he was not well. And then today he is gone. And it just really reminds you, like, we are only here for so little time. That's why I pointed out yesterday over the last couple of days, why are we fighting with each other over semantics and over arguments, over debates, this and that? We can all, at least in this space, you can go out and if you want to stand up for what you believe, that's 100% go do that. But if you come into a place like this, into a community, let's all be polite about our differences. Let's make friends, have a peaceful place. As that caller mentioned, that Discord, we were becoming too powerful. And it wasn't us. It was the community. The community, we had state groups under this channel, state groups in every state that were meeting in person. I mean, we had barbecues and restaurant meetups and everything in every state. It was insane. My days off weren't really days off because all day, every day on Saturday and Sunday, I would be on Zoom with different meetings at different restaurants, and we were Zooming with people at the park, people at people's houses. The biggest meeting was over 120 people. Some of the smallest meetings were, 8 to 12 people would meet. It was amazing. They took it down right before the 2020 thing, right before everybody was picking their side. They were getting rid of any group with a lot of military in it. Wonder why. And then they came out with this alert saying, that the people you need to worry about are the people in the country, not the people in the Middle East. They're right here. They could be right next to you. They could be serving you a bagel. Have a good night, guys. Love you. Be safe. Be prepared. And Marf out. I love you. Thank you, mods. All of you guys. Love, love, love. And make sure to go check out Lisa. Make sure to go check out Ilea. Check out Trinity. Check out CJ Blaze. Check out all of the wonderful mods. Dex, thank you so much. Love you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
Be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. Lola Cafe, Lola Cafe, Lola Cafe, Lola Lola Cafe. Lola Lola Cafe, Lola Lola Cafe, Lola Lola Cafe. Liz Bauer, we don't have anything yet, unfortunately. I don't have any Mike Morales stuff as far as we're putting that together. Tomorrow, well, the next show we will actually have some stuff as well. Like I said, we're gonna show some stuff on some other friends of ours that have been lost as well.